Hi, it's Andy, and today I'm bringing you my Q1 stats and book haul. So if you're not familiar with the phrase Q1 or quarter one, it is basically the first quarter of the year, so the first 3 months, January, February, March. And I like to do these videos just to track some stats and to keep a track of the books that I'm hauling. I don't haul enough to justify for me doing a full haul video each month, so for me, I think it's better to do a quarterly haul, and I go a bit more in depth on my stats for this quarter rather than in my wrap-ups where I like to gab and yap about books. So yeah, this is just a wrap-up of my Q1 stats, so January, February, March, that I like to track, and a haul of all the books that I hauled in January, February, March. You know what this is. What is this? You know what this is. Not what this is, what this is. So yeah, I am going to go over the stats with you, compare them to last month for some of them, and did I say last month? Last quarter? It is now, I'm not going to lie, it's June. It is June, and I don't know when this will go up because my laptop is currently away getting repaired. So I only have, not my old laptop, but my old laptop before that one, and it is struggling to load Chrome, never mind trying to load editing software. So we'll see when this goes up, but yeah, I'm filming this basically for me anyway, so it's fine. I'm going to dive right into the stats because we all know I could waffle and waffle and waffle, but that's not the point of these videos. The point is to get through the stats and the haul. I will do the stats first and then do the haul, so if you'd rather watch the haul and not the stats, you can skip to that. If you want to watch the haul, if you want to watch the stats but not the haul, you can just watch this part. If you want to watch it all, feel free to stay. Starting off with the amount of books I read. So in total, I read 48 books, and that is split into 17 books for January, 16 books for February, and 15 books for March. Do you know what? I'm really surprised at this because I didn't feel like I was reading that many books, but I was really on a roll. Was being the operative word there. We'll say in Q2 that it tanked a little bit, but that's fine. Just a little bit. It's fine. So those books were a total of 17,637 pages over 48 books, which breaks down into 5,971 for January, 5,797 for February, and 5,869 for March. So yeah, I've been getting through some books, and I'm really happy with that. For genre, I am a little bit surprised, I'm not going to lie, about the makeup of the genres. So we have 23 romance books, 20 science fiction and fantasy. I just lump science fiction and fantasy together in one because sometimes I can't decide what's sci-fi and what's fantasy, so I lump them together. 2 historical fiction, 2 non-fiction, and 1 contemporary book. Of the books that I read, 27 of them, or 56%, had LGBTQ+ rep in them, and for me the rep has to be like over a certain threshold. Like, it can't just be a throwaway character like Bob down the street is gay. Like, that's not, like, they have to be a significant part of the book for me to select as such. Same with disabled, which is 15 books with disability rep in them, which is 31%, and of the 48 books, 10 were by authors of colour, so that makes up 21% of my reading. And 4 of them were rereads, which is surprisingly small. I feel like I've been rereading a lot more books, but that's maybe just, in Q2 that I've been doing that. Down to my TBR and library numbers, which is what I'm excited about. So my TBR at the end of quarter 4 last year was 73 books, and the TBR end of Q1 is 52 books. So I've reduced that significantly, and I'm so happy with that I'm getting this TBR down. My library count, so if you don't know, I'm trying to get to a 1,000 book library, and at the end of Q4 my library was sitting at 950 books, and at the end of Q1 my library was 974 books. So yeah, we're doing well. I will tell you, even now I'm so close to that goal, so close to my goal of 1,000 books, that I can, I think I'll do it in the next, maybe the next 3 or 4 months. So yeah, I'm so excited to have my 1,000 book library. So excited. So of course that means as well that I had 50 books to go, end of Q4, and now I have 26 to go, end of Q1, which obviously is changed now that it's June. It's fine. There we go. That ends the stats portion of the video. So if you're just here for stats, that's you. You're free to go. If you want to see the haul, welcome. If you've just clicked on the haul, and if you stayed on, hi again. So like I said, I don't haul that many books. I am kind of a picky bitch when it comes to books, and not in like a, I think I'm better than everybody else because I only read specific books. No, that's not what I mean by being picky. I mean I struggle to find things that I vibe with. Like I feel like I'm in a bit of a slump at the moment, but also I struggle with fantasy, which is why I was so surprised my FM fantasy was so high. I struggle with fantasy. I have been falling out of love with historical fiction. There's not much that I'm struggling to find my niche, basically. So in saying that, I hauled 31 books in total in the first quarter. That was 5 in January, 14 in February, and 12 in March. So to start off with January, obviously, start at the beginning, I got this copy of The Study of Fire by Maria V. Snyder. This is the last book, technically, if you don't count the Study Chronicles. Study Chronicles is like short stories, but this is the last like book in this entire series. This is it finished. And we read this for the Chronicles of AZebraReads, and honestly, this is one of my favourites of the entire thing. I'm so excited to finally have not a full set, but like, and now I'm just on the point of collecting the editions I like, and these are the indie versions of the last trilogy because it's only indie published. Then we have the book that everybody was getting in January, it feels like anyway, you couldn't get away from it in the month of January, and that is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. As you can see, I've read and tabbed mine. I've been really good at reading the books that I've purchased this year, so I'm very, very happy with the fact that I managed to do that. But yeah, I've read and tabbed this alongside rereading and tabbing my copies of the first two books, but this is book 3 in the Empyrean trilogy, and yeah, 2 more to go on this, but she's taking a break, so I'll probably have to reread and tab some more when the next one comes out. Next is Spiral by Bal Cabra. This is the follow-up companion novel to Collide, which is a college hockey romance. This one is one of the players from the hockey team in college who has now moved on to a NHL team. So it does follow the characters we know and love, but they're a little bit more grown up. And I love this. This follows him and a ballerina, and she is struggling to get parts because she doesn't really have an online presence, and they are picking influencer ballerinas over ballerinas who are better but don't have any following. So what she decides to do is she strikes up a bargain with the hockey player whose name I can't remember, Elias. So Elias and Sage strike up this agreement that they will fake date him, I think, to make him look better. And yeah, so him to make him look better because of his behaviour, and her to help her get a following on social media so that she can maybe get her foot in the door to get some of the parts that she deserves after all of her training. I love this. I can't decide if it's better than the first one. Like, they both have, like, you know, authors improve, and I'm not saying she's not improved, I just really loved Collide. But I also really love this book. Don't mind me dropping stuff. And then my highly anticipated Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. This follows 2 characters that we meet in Out on a Limb. Out on a Limb follows Wynne and guy whose name I can't remember. So it wasn't men, I can't remember their names. And so this follows Sarah and Caleb, who are Wynne's friends, and also the other guy's friend. Like, they're friends with a couple from the other one. But the thing is, this is kind of a second chance romance because Sarah and Caleb are already married. They've been married since they were very young. They were childhood sweethearts. And her whole life, Sarah has kind of relied on Caleb for a lot of things, and Caleb has always been the one to come to the rescue and kind of throw money at problems to make them go away. And Sarah is just fed up. She's fed up of being a housewife, trophy wife, whose husband just pays her way through everything. She wants to do something significant, and when she is doing something, a fundraiser that she thinks is her sort of ticket to start doing significant things, she is once again bailed out by sit sit with this, and basically they end up in an ultimatum that either they go to this couples counselling thing, which is like a trip in the woods, camping, no phones, anything like that, or that's it, like they're done. And so, despite the fact that Caleb does not want to go, they go, and yeah, it's a second chance romance, you know what happens. But in doing that, they meet other couples who are all at like different stages of relationships, and the found family in this, like, it's almost like a temporary found family, and I absolutely love it. It's so beautiful, and yeah, Hannah Bonham Young can do no wrong. Next is Unloved by Peyton Corinne. This is very shiny. It's funny because I actually read Collide and Unsteady very close together, and then I read Unloved and Spiral very close together. This again is a college hockey romance. I believe this is a college one as well. Yeah, and this follows Freddie and Ro. And Ro is the friend of the female main character, whose name I can't remember, Sadie. And Freddie is on the hockey team with the guy from Unsteady, whose name I can't remember, Reese. I'm getting so much better with names. And so Ro is a very smart student, to the point where she is part of this group who tutors other students, and I think she's some TA work or something like that, but she tutors other students. And Freddie has really bad dyslexia, dyscalculia, and has been getting sort of bumped off by the other tutors in this because they're all like assholes. You know how you've got like the asshole jock stereotype and like the geek that's scared of everybody stereotype? Well, these are the kind of geeks that are like mean to people for not being smart, which is just so uncool and gross. But these guys are, because Ro is the only girl in this group, and the guys, including Ro's on again, off again boyfriend, are horrible to Freddie because he's dyslexic. They just keep telling him that he's stupid, that he doesn't know what he's doing. Like, they are horrible to him. And so Ro takes over his tutoring, and Freddie very quickly falls for Ro, and Ro has had a crush on Freddie since she first met him, which we see them meet in Unsteady and see like a little spark between them. But as it turns out, Ro and Freddie met years before that, and we get to see right from the start of their story. And oh my god, this book made me sob. Like, if you want a book that deals with learner difficulties and learner disabilities in a way that just makes you feel enraged and then completely uplifted, it's just, these books are unparalleled. I love this book, and now I really want to read it again. There we go. So those are the 5 books I got in the month of January. Now on to February. First up in February is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. This is Ali Hazelwood's newest college romance book. This is a book that deals with kink and with family and relationships, and it's about a diver, like a high diver, and a swimmer at this college. Apparently internet breaking kink. It wasn't. This book got a lot of controversy when it came out. People were absolutely clutching their pearls at it, and I wondered what I was in for when I picked it up, and it wasn't. You're fine, don't worry about it. But if you aren't fine, funnily enough, there is a little note at the front that gives you a warning of what's in it. So if you're going to read this and complain about it and you've not read the content warnings, then bolt. Because like, who does that? Who does that? Anyway, yeah, definitely not my favourite of Ali Hazelwood's books, but I'd be willing to read it again just to see if I pick up anything else, because my first time round I just didn't really get it. And then I picked up Orbital because I had FOMO. I am getting into sci-fi the past few years. Like, I'm really starting to enjoy sci-fi and discovering what kinds of sci-fi that I like, because to me sci-fi was always like Star Wars, Star Trek, but in books. Like, sci-fi books, obviously. And while I like to watch things like that, like I love Doctor Who and I love Star Wars, I've never seen Star Trek, but I'd be willing to watch it. Like, I love all those kind of sci-fi stuff. Firefly, love it. But I don't enjoy it in books. However, that's not the only sci-fi there is. I know, mind-blowing. And we all know, if you've been around my channel for 5 minutes, that I love The Martian, I love Project Hail Mary, I love Andy Weir in general, except the egg. Don't talk to me about the egg. And so I'm starting to discover that I like more people-y sci-fi, so like introspective character work. set on a sci-fi background rather than pew pew laser, alien takeover, ships fighting kind of sci-fi, if that makes sense. So like Becky Chambers, Andy Weir. So this, is that all I've got up there? Sylvain Novelle. That sort of thing. Sci-fi, like, you know what I mean. So I picked this up because it is sci-fi, but it's also not. Like, it's not a non-fiction book, but it's not like sci-fi that's out with the realms of actual possibility. So this follows 6 astronauts as they orbit the planet in the International Space Station, and you see snippets of each orbit. So you've got your upwards and your downwards, like the way that the ISS kind of like goes up and down. So the book's upside down now. So it gives it in like the ascending orbit, descending orbit, 1, 2, 3, and you follow them for a few orbits as they look at the Earth and have thoughts about what's happening on the Earth, and thoughts about what that means for themselves, what it means for humanity, what that means for the Earth, and how humanity treats the Earth, and like things like that. And this just seemed like something that would be right up my alley. So I decided to pick it up. Ended up not like loving it, but for what it was, I quite enjoyed it. Next is North is the Night by Emily Rath. Emily Rath is starting to become one of my favourite authors of all time. Not only because she's an absolute badass and I love her, but her books are just perfection. I love them. There's not one I haven't absolutely loved so far. And it's just getting better. So North is the Night is kind of a Finnish mythology retelling fantasy-esque thing. So it is like Hades and Persephone and the Bear and the Nightingale, but Finnish mythology. So you've got our main character who is in love with her best friend. This is Sapphic, by the way. And then her best friend is kidnapped by one of the death gods and taken to hell. Or their hell realm. I can't remember what it's called. It might just be hell with one H. One L, even. She's taken to a hell realm. And so City decides, the main character, if I didn't say that, this is a mess. She decides she's going to go after her and get her back. But the Hell Realm, why are we... But the Hell Realm isn't exactly what she thinks it is. And at the same time as this is all happening, Christianity is starting to sweep across Finland. And it's coming from Sweden, pushing into Finland, and the old gods and the old ways are being destroyed. So you're kind of fighting this... It sounds like a lot. You're fighting this whole conversion, trying to fight for the old gods, trying to find this hero who... it's like Moana, I say it's like Moana, where she's going to find this hero and he's going to take her to hell because he's been there before, and she's going to rescue her friend who she also kind of is in love with but is in denial about, while in hell there's a whole other story going on. Like I said, it's Bear the Nightingale meets Moana, meets Hades and Persephone, and that guy who had to go to hell in the Greek mythology and find his wife. I can't remember what his name was. I want to say Oedipus, but I know it's not Oedipus because Oedipus is the one that ended up with his mum and it's not him. Anyway, I know stuff. It's fine. This sounds like there's so much going on, and you would go into it thinking, how are we going to pull this all together? But this is Dr. Emily Rath here. She manages to pull it together incredibly well. This is so beautifully told, so wonderful. The stakes are high, but never at the point where it's overly distressing to me. Like, there's some things in this that like other authors would have made it a bit more but yeah, I love the way that she wrote this. I love the story behind it, and I'm so excited for the next book. It is only a duology, so South is the Sea I think is the next book. South is the something, but I'm pretty sure it's South is the Sea, and I'm so excited. Then I got myself some books that are basically just other editions of books I love. Don't judge me. So first is The Last Witch of Scotland by Philip Paris. This is a lighter version of the original cover. This is the original cover. As you can see, it's the same cover, they're just different colours. So the new one is lighter and it has sprayed edges because this won the Waterstones, I don't know if it was Book of the Year or Scottish Book of the Year, but so they did a new cover for it. I absolutely love this cover. I think it's beautiful. I love the original cover. I literally could not decide, so I'm keeping both. I also love this book. So this follows our main character whose dad dies in a tragic fire, and she goes in to try and rescue him and is burned and disfigured, and so people start to look at her and her mum a bit funny because it's specifically her hands and her feet that are disfigured. And this is the point where there are still witch trials going on in Scotland. In fact, the reason this is called The Last Witch of Scotland is because it follows the fictionalised story of the last woman to be killed as a witch in Scotland. So our characters go to this small Highland town, which has been affected by the clearances village, really, and try to make a life there. And while they're there, they meet a troupe of entertainers, travelling entertainers. And we also get to see it from the entertainers' point of view. And they have recently absconded from the last place they were because they had a little run-in with someone who wasn't very nice to the girls and got what they deserved, shall we say. Got what they deserved. So they had to kind of skedaddle out of there quickly and end up in this little village, or by this little village, and befriending these women. I love the story. It is beautiful. It is about love, about friendship, about family, about found family, and just against this backdrop of, you know, suspicion and witch hunt and chaotic, psychotic religion. It's just so beautiful, and it's a Scottish book, I believe, by a Scottish author. Yeah, I adored this, but yeah, both editions, beautiful, so I'm keeping them both. Next one is The Nightingale by Kristen Hannah. How could I resist? How could I resist this edition of The Nightingale? It is beautiful. The lavender, the plains, the sort of sunsetty style. Oh, how could I have resisted? Like, there's no way I could have said no to this edition. I do also have two other editions of this. This is the sort of what was the original UK paperback edition, which is cool because obviously it is another version of, like, they're very similar in that she's got the bike and she's walking through a field. So this was the original one that I first got and read, and then the second one that I got was the American Standard paperback that they reprinted, I think, over here. Oh no, it's damaged. It's fine. And this is my favourite one, which is this beautiful edition. This is the original US paperback. And yeah, I just think this is beautiful. With the Eiffel Tower, the rain, the foiling is just beautiful. So yeah, I now have three editions of The Nightingale. It's one of my favourite books of all time. It broke my heart. It killed me. This is about two sisters during World War II. One of them joins the resistance and the other has a German soldier billeted at her house. And it's about the way that they both deal with being, like, France being occupied, how they both deal with the Nazi occupation and the threat and the war and survival. And yeah, this book ruined me. I also want it for like 5 other people in my life because if it's going to ruin me, it's going to ruin you. And then I got the newest Tessa Bailey, which is Dream Girl Drama. This is book 3 in the Hot Shots series, I want to say, is what it's called. I'm going to say that, and I don't know why I'm doing this. But this follows 2 characters that we have met previously in the previous book. And they meet one night and hit it off and just have this whirlwind sort of romance where they just have that soulmate moment where they know that they are soulmates. But unfortunately, they're both running late to events, family events, and so they have to go, but promise to get in contact with each other. However, when they get there, they discover that her mother is marrying his father, and that's what the family events were, for them to meet each other and to meet the mum and dad in question. Or she's already knows his dad, but he has never met her mum because he's kind of estranged from his dad, and this is the first time he's been in contact with him for years. So they then have to deal with this whole thing of, like, wanting to be together but thinking they can't be together because they're about to be step-siblings, but they are fully adults. They met before they even knew about it, and again, they're fully adults. They weren't raised as siblings, so I don't understand why this is noted as a taboo romance. I'm just going to say right now. But the thing is, she is very much, this sort of harks back to It Happened One Summer. She is very much like the character from that, whose name I can't remember, who is based on Schitt's Creek, I believe, so kind of like an Alexis character. Alexis. Anyway, I don't even watch Schitt's Creek, I just know a little bit Alexis. So she is totally reliant on her mum and her mum's money, and she decides in a fit of, like, fury that she is no longer going to be under her mum's thumb and she is going to make it on her own. And so she moves into the same place that Sig lives, and he basically pays for everything while she gets herself sort of up to speed on learning how to be an independent adult. I love this book. I love their relationship because he immediately sets a boundary, like, no, we're not going to do this. Like, I care about you, but I promised I would look after you. Like, I'm going to treat you like a sister. And he cares about her so much. Like, the way these two care about each other. And they just kind of have to get over that hump. And honestly, again, it's like a nothing problem to me because everybody's like, oh, but they're step-siblings. And they're like almost step-siblings because their parents aren't married yet. And I'm like, you met as adults before you knew your parents were even together. How is this Anyway. I just, again, like Deep End, people were like going off online about this because it was a taboo romance, because they're step-siblings. But again, met them when they were adults. They met before they even knew their parents were together. Yes, it was like the same day, but that's not the point. It wasn't like they were children who were raised together and then got together. That would be a taboo romance. This is not. And then I got one of the most beautiful books ever, and that is The Sirens by Amelia Hart. Amelia Hart wrote Wayward, which also gorgeous book. But The Sirens, I don't even necessarily know what it's about. Did I buy it for the sprayed edges? Probably. Like, can we appreciate this? I love this shade of like tealy, bluey green, and also the pink. Like, come on, this is just me wrapped up in a book. I do believe this is about, I'm going to say mermaids. It's very similar, I think, to Wayward, where it's like different women in different times. I'll be honest, I don't even know. I just bought this because it was pretty. And I'm going to read it this month, so you will get my feelings in my wrap up. Now, friends, I know I just said Sirens was one of the most beautiful books that I own, but these might actually be my pride and joy. Now, Illuminate have been knocking it out of the park with their special editions. Obviously, we've got the Percy Jacksons. I own the Chloe Elise Bagman Brothers ones as well, and they make up that's like a map of Camp Half-Blood, and that's, I'm pointing over there because that's where the Chloe Elise ones are. It's like the A-frame, if you know, you know. And there are some stunning special editions. Like, I have some beautiful special editions of books. I've recently started collecting special editions, but these might be my pride and joy. These might be my pride and joy. So here are the edges. I'm going to show you them all individually, but look at the edges. Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is yet? It doesn't matter because I'm about to tell you. So these are the Fairy editions of the Chestnut Springs series by Elsie Silver. This series has a special place in my heart. I love the Chestnut Springs series so much. And when I saw the Fairy editions, I literally was going to cry. I was like screaming, crying, throwing up. If I didn't get these, I would have been devastated. I would have gotten over it because, like, I'm not that kind of person, but like, I love them so much, and I'm very happy and appreciative that I have them. So I'm going to show you them individually. So this is Flawless, which is Summer and Rhett's story, which is the first one. And of course, like I said, we've got, you know, and it's top and bottom. And it's top and bottom. They also have beautiful naked hardcovers. So Wishing Well Ranch is the ranch in Chestnut Springs. So Chestnut Springs is the place. This card is significant in the book. And Wishing Well Ranch is the place that they live. Also, how beautiful are those end pages? Just absolutely stunning. It's a bolo tie. Like, it's a bolo tie. And a rose. Like, it just ties in everything so beautifully. Then there's everybody's favourite, Heartless. It's not my favourite, it's my second favourite, but it's most people's favourite. Look at that, beautiful. And again, the edge is there, and top and bottom. I love the edges. Like, the edges are something absolutely stunning, honestly. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. I'll show you the insides. It's a guitar this time. And then we've got the house. and the back garden, the wishing mill, basically. It's so pretty. These are so pretty. And then Powerless, which is actually my least favourite, but it's fine. So what the character art, I don't know why I'm showing you the back of these ones now because, you know, I wasn't before. The edges, again top and bottom. Don't mind me while I smack myself with the book. The end pages, I've got some skates, and of course the naked hardback. Now this to me is the most significant book and naked hardback when it comes to the series, because all of Elsie's books tie together. So this here, on the other side of the mountain, so they're driving this way towards you. So on the other side of the mountains is Chestnut Springs, and on this side of the mountains is Rose Hill. That Rose Hill. And this is Emerald Lake. I'm so excited for the Emerald Lake series, I'm not gonna lie. I know nothing about it, but I'm just so excited. And then there's my personal favourite, Reckless. Look at them. They're so pretty. I love it. They're beautiful. I love this character art. It's just so beautiful. So again, we've got the edges and top and bottom, and we've got one house and two houses because they're neighbours. I almost forgot to show you the end papers. What have we got this time? Roses and a cowboy hat. And finally, what in my opinion is the most underrated book, because a lot of people don't like it, but that is just wrong in my opinion. We have Hopeless. Again, look at them. Such beautiful covers. I'm so jealous. And again, edges, top and bottom. So we've got the river, which is very significant. River, creek, whatever you want to call it. That is obviously significant to the book. And then on this side, again, the river. And the end pages is obviously dog tags. If you know, you know. Ooh. That camera just did something. I don't know what it did. I'll see it in editing, but I'm sorry if that made you feel weird. And then I also picked up James by Percival Everett. This is a retelling of Huckleberry Finn from the point of view of James, or Jim, who is the slave that runs away from the farm and goes on adventures with Huckleberry Finn. This was a masterpiece. I will fight you. I will throw hands for this book. This book was a masterpiece. I can't describe it beyond what I've described it. I've never read Huckleberry Finn. You don't need to read Huckleberry Finn. This is so much about James, and yeah, like there are times when they get separated and Huck Finn goes off and does things and you don't know what they are, because that's the story of Huckleberry Finn, not the story of James. And I love this. This is excellent. I genuinely think everybody should read this. And the last book I got in February was The Woman by Kristen Hanna. This follows a female main character who goes to war. I think it's the Vietnam War, I want to say. I can't remember it. This is the only other Kristen Hanna book I have, because the others have either just not sounded up my alley or I've been too scared to read them. But this one just kept popping into my head, so I decided to get it. So this follows friends, and it says on the front, like, it's their friendship changed life, their bravery changed history. I do believe this is it the Vietnam War? That's terrible. Yes, Vietnam War. So she decides to go to war as a nurse and is obviously scarred by the things that happen and the things she sees. So that's all I really know about it. It kind of made me think of In Memoriam. I think that's why I wanted to get it. And I don't know anything about the Vietnam War, except that that was World War II. I was going to say there was one guy who went to hiding in the jungle and only was discovered like within my lifetime, and I'm only 32, and this guy had not been informed that the war had ended, so he was still hiding. World War II ended in 1945. This guy was still, I think it was like 2012 or something. I want to say it was something like that. But they literally came across him in the jungle and had to tell him that the war was over. But I'm pretty sure that was World War II. And maybe the Vietnam War. I cannot remember anymore. Anyway, Kristen Hanna, women, friendship, Vietnam War, sign me up. So we're finally on to March, and I got some more Elsie Silver, I'm not going to lie. So her newest book came out, and that is Wild Side, and I got this edition, which is the regular edition, and then WH Smith have special editions of these books, so I got the special edition of it as well. I originally got the regular edition of Wild Love, the special edition of Wild Eyes, and then decided I'm going to get both for all of them. So this is the regular edition, this is the WH Smith foiled edition, and I just think they are absolutely stunning. Wild Side is book 3 in the series, so it follows the people of Rose Hill, and this follows Tabitha, who you meet in the first 2 books, and it is a marriage of convenience fake dating scenario with enemies to lovers. It has been so far people's least favourite. My computer's going off, by the way. This has been people's least favourite in the series. I quite liked it, but I can understand why, because with the way the other 2 went, this does lack a little bit. But I am excited for the last one to come out, and I do have both pre-ordered for it. So in that vein, I got the regular edition of Wild Eyes. The special edition just looks like an orange version of the green one. This is the second book in the Rose Hill series. I'm going backwards with these, and this is a single dad age gap romance with a female main character who's like a celebrity and a celebrity singer, a pop star, a country star, and one of our characters that we meet in the first one, obviously. Kind of. And then of course, going backwards again, I got the special edition of the first book. So originally they started off these special editions with Wild Eyes, which is book 2, so they backtracked and did Wild Love and released that at the same time as Wild Side. This is the first in the series, and this follows Ford, who is, and it took me, this is what I mean, they're all interconnected, it took me too long to realise that Ford in this book is the brother of Willa from Heartless. So Willa, Heartless, Chestnut Springs, Ford is her brother. So this follows Ford, and he's moved to the small town with his, to be near his best friend. And his best friend's sister gets fired from her job and moves back to the small town to kind of get herself back on her feet. So as you can imagine, brother's best friend romance. This, I wasn't so keen on this at first. I think I was just really resistant to getting into a new world. Like, I'd been so embroiled in the Chestnut Spring series, I'd reread it a couple of times. I didn't want to let go of those characters and meet new ones, but I think I'm going to read, I'll really enjoy this. Again, it's seen as a billionaire romance as well, because all the male main characters in these, well, and the female main characters in the second one, kind of, are millionaires, billionaires, whatever, extremely rich, and are not afraid to throw their money around. So yeah, these editions though are absolutely stunning. Like, look at that pink. That is just beautiful, and the regular edition is stunning. Now, speaking of special editions, these books need no introduction. It is the Arc of the Scythe. Oh, look at those edges. Again, I will show you each book individually. So the first is obviously Scythe. These are all by Neil Shusterman. I can't remember. Oh my goodness, there's fingerprints on my book. No. These are, I can't remember what editions these are. Illumicrate. Again, absolutely killing it. So this is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This is book 1 in the Arc of the Scythe. And this edition is just stunning. Look at that. Even the back is beautiful. Even the naked hardcover, like, honestly, Illumicrate are killing it. So this is the first in the Arc of the Scythe, as I've said about 5 times now. And this follows our 2 main characters as they are initiated as scythes. And what scythes are, basically, so I'll show you the end pages. Gorgeous. What scythes are, is they are the only people that are allowed to kill in the society. So this is a society in which they have cured death. Nobody dies anymore, and the thing is, people are still born, and we still have somewhat limited resources. And so they have developed a system in which there are these scythes, and these scythes are ordained to be the only ones that are allowed to kill. There are certain rules on how they are allowed to kill, and they have to choose people at random, etc., or work with like previous population numbers. So like if it was in a population so many % of men died, they had to kill, like they had a quota to kill that many men, that many women, etc. So they have these rules in place, and this initially, as I said, follows our main characters as they are initiated as scythes apprentices to become scythes themselves. But there's also corruption happening in this world, and not all the scythes are following the rules, and not all the scythes think they should be held to those rules. They start to see themselves as gods, and therein ends up this massive domino effect throughout the series. There's also a cult in this that are, I can't even remember, Tonists I think they're called, and they are obsessed with, it's like a musical theory of the world. You really need to read it to understand it. I regret not reading this book series earlier so much. So here's book 2, Thunderhead. I should also say that the Thunderhead is what cured death. So the Thunderhead is this AI creature, it's this AI that is basically the thing that has stopped everybody from dying. It also makes sure everybody's got what they need, and it is totally detached from the scythedom. I love the Thunderhead as a concept and as an entity. I just think that the interactions that people have with the Thunderhead are amazing. This is gorgeous. If you know what it is, you know. Oh, and the end pages. There we go. But yeah, oh my goodness, it's focusing on the faces. Yeah, so this series, honestly, if you are just getting into sci-fi fantasy, this is what I mean when I say I struggle to lump sci-fi and fantasy, because where does the line cross? Because this is sci-fi in the sense that it is technologically based, but it is so outside the realm of possibility that it is like basically fantastical. And then there's the Toll, which, by the way, that's a chunker. But look at those edges. Absolutely stunning. The Toll is a big, chunky book. And it is also the last in the trilogy. There are the... I kind of think it's weird that, like, this one seems to be the only one that's the same colour set as the dust jacket. Again, we've got our main end papers with the bits of the plot that you'll understand if you have read the books. And then we have Bleedings, which is the short story collection, which I definitely think you need to read if you've read Scythe. You don't need to know, like, some of it can be quite confusing because there are stories in here that aren't actually linked into the Arc of the Scythe. Some are linked in, and once you read all of it, it all makes sense together, if that makes sense. Like, it will make sense. Just keep going. Just keep going. This is so pretty. This one's also the same colour. It's fine. And then there's the end pages. This one, I love this one. I love that story. So yeah, those are the Illuminate Arc of the Scythe books, and honestly, they are stunning. They're absolutely stunning. I'm so glad they're also full size hardbacks, because I hate the size of royal hardbacks. Next up is Red Side Story by Jesper Ford. This is the long-awaited sequel to Shades of Grey. And this is a world where your colour determines your worth. So, for example, and I mean, like, you are those colours, like I think their skin's tinged, their eyes, their hair, everything is that colour. So we have our main character who is a red, so he's kind of middle of the pack level of class, and then like greens are above him. I think ultraviolets are like the highest, I can't even remember now. But there's like a spectrum of colour, and you're judged on your spectrum. And like, you're born, your colour, but the sort of power system is based on, I don't mean magic system, I mean power system, like hierarchy, is based on how many shades of that colour you can see. It's a whole thing. You need to read it to understand it. And that ends up in a thing where he discovers that the world is not everything he thought it was. There's a big thing that happened years ago that nobody knows anything about. And I feel like in this book we're about to find out what happened. There are also greys in this world, and greys can't see any colours. And they are hated and despised by the rest of society as like the lowest class. And he meets a grey, and things just go mad. So this is the sequel. I really hope that we find out what happens. Next is Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. This is a non-fiction about tuberculosis. Funnily enough, I really seriously think everybody should read this. This is John Green's voice. It is so... It's kind of like an extended section of The Anthropocene Reviewed. This follows John Green talking about tuberculosis and the effect it's had in the world and the effect that humans have on like the ability to treat tuberculosis. It's controlled by so many things that we have the power to smash, and yet we don't, which is just gross. This book is so valuable. It follows Henry, who it's non-fiction, but it follows Henry, who is a boy that John met when he was in Sierra Leone, and he kind of had an instant connection with him because his son's name is also Henry, so it kind of hit him that this could be my son. And Henry at the time had tuberculosis, and it talks about Henry's journey and how he couldn't get treatment and how it was difficult, and yeah, it's seriously, please read this. And John Green narrates the audiobook, so I would definitely advise that. Next is Tea at the Altar by Rebecca Thorne. This book is the second to last in the series. I have read the last one because I got an arc. I got an arc of all of them, and except the first one. And this is the stunning Edge edition. I have the other two there, and I've pre-ordered the fourth one. This is a continuation on obviously the first two. It follows Chianthe and Rhaenyra, and Rhaenyra was a Queensguard, and Chianthe is the Mage of Ages, the sort of magical, like, top dog, as it were, and they decide to run away together and open a tea and bookshop, and the Queen is not pleased about that. But this is a cosy fantasy with high but low stakes. Everything's going to be okay, but like things happen that give you a bit of a scare. Chianthe is the punniest person ever, like dad jokes fear her. But I love this book, and everything in this is queer. The whole thing is queer. It is amazing. And lastly, the last book I hauled in the month of March was Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. Again, everybody and their dog was reading this book when it came out. It was no different. This is Haymitch's story. We meet Haymitch in the Hunger Games, and we learn that he obviously, given that he's now looking after Katniss and Peeta, that he won his own games, and this harks back to his games, which is the 50th Hunger Games, where they picked two names per, like, one girl, two girls, two boys, instead of just one girl, one boy, and put them into the Hunger Games to fight it out. I like this because it's like a midpoint, almost, between the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and the Hunger Games. Like, the Hunger Games that we originally started with, which are the 74th Hunger Games, are so technologically advanced. And then when we see A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, it's like the 10th Hunger Games, and everything is so unbelievably basic. But then in this one, we kind of got like a mid-range where there's quite a lot of technology, but not fully what we see in the 74th. And also you get to see that Haymitch's games may not have been as cut and dry as you thought from seeing them in the second Hunger Games book. So yeah, I absolutely love this. It talks about control and government control, propaganda, and how people can alter things that you see on TV and in the news, and how you really should be thinking more critically rather than just believing. There we are, that's my book haul for the months of January, February and March. If you have gotten these books, read in these books, please let me know. If there's any you want to talk to me about or discuss, please do so down below. Thanks so much for watching, and if you want to leave me some kind of emoji, leave me some kind of snake or bird emoji or Sunrise on the Reaping, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!